What is going on today, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Fix It Garage. Today, engine's getting done, started, and then we're going to talk about what happened after I got it all up and running. So first, let's get right into getting this thing put back together. Alright guys, so as you just saw, the engine's in and it's running. I was super excited to get everything running. It wasn't running the best, but at least I knew it was running and it was working well enough that I could consider my part of the project done at this point. So after this was all done, the car went up to English Racing. Shout out to English Racing for taking such good care of me while the car was there. I will link their Instagram and their website in the description box of this video. So once it got there, the original plan was for them to break it in and give me a tune. Unfortunately, there was a code in the system for crank and cam sensors not matching their phase angles. And so they had to do a little bit of diagnosis because I was not going to tow the car back home to continue to work on it. It was there. I figured I'd just get it done and taken care of. So what they found was right here, you guys can see there's a tooth missing from the trigger wheel on the crank gear. So either I dropped it on accident or something happened to it and I broke a tooth off. So of course I had them go ahead and replace that gear. Well, unfortunately, and I'll show you right here, I also put the guide that goes on the crank gear. There's a guide that goes over the timing belt to help it from sliding off. I typically work on Hondas, and those are a fixed part. Well, I didn't realize on this engine it had adjustment in it, and I set it too tight to the belt. So I started to shred the belt. So yes, even seasoned mechanics do make mistakes sometimes. And I'm willing to admit that I made a couple mistakes putting this together. But if I had to do it again, I know I wouldn't make the same mistakes twice. So after they did a Gates timing belt and a new gear, they went and put it on the dyno with a top mount intercooler. So as you can tell now, there is no top mount intercooler on it. But when they first tuned it, it had one. And I will show you guys the dyno footage right now. So, as you can see, it had a top mount intercooler. The issue they were running into while tuning is that when it got hot, it would knock because it was getting too hot soaked. The air was getting too hot, it was pulling timing out of the car. And so it wasn't making any real good power. So the next step at this point was to go with a ETS front mount intercooler kit, which you guys can see on the car now. So, you guys can see all the piping, the Turbo Smart blow-off valve, and the ETS front mount intercooler. So again, I had a choice of installing it myself, towing it back, and then having them tune it. I ended up just leaving the car up there and letting them install it. Not because I don't think that I can do it. I know that I can. I could do pretty much everything that there is to do other than tune a car. But I just had them do it for the sake of time and tow bills and all that different things, because I really didn't want to drive it up there on a tune that wasn't set up for this front mount intercooler. So, car sat up there and they installed the front mount intercooler and it was back to the dyno. So here's the dyno video. So, as you guys just saw, there's the dyno video. And you also saw the horsepower and torque figures. As you can see, this is not a high horsepower build, and I'm fine with that. I didn't build this engine to make 500 or 1,000 horsepower. I built this to make around 310 reliably, which is exactly what it is doing. I wanted this car to be able to be daily driven and tracked and autocrossed at a conservative power level. I can also take this out and I can drive it and I can learn the car better because I haven't really had a whole bunch of time to drive this thing at speed performance-wise. So this gives me a good chance to get good practice driving this thing fast through the corners, learn how it works, learn where I need to adjust the suspension to make everything work. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do. So for the next couple years, it's probably gonna keep the stock turbo, the stock injectors, and the mostly stock fuel system. Eventually, all that's gonna be changed out for a bigger turbo, different injectors, different throttle body. All that stuff's gonna be changed. So stick around. Hopefully in a couple years, we'll get all that stuff done. Maybe even sooner if I can pick up the car a little bit faster than that. So once I got the car back home, I went straight into driving it every day. And the first thing I found is that I had some aftermarket Mishimoto radiator fans. And I found that the car sat idling for too long. The engine wanted to overheat. Not really good for a brand new engine. So I actually threw the stock fans back in and found that it cooled a little bit better. And I'm gonna leave it like that for now. Eventually I'd like to go to some brushless fans, but for now the stock fans are gonna work. I need to work on sealing them a little bit better, and I'm gonna do that in a later episode. We're gonna take the fans off and we're gonna work on sealing them to help create a better pull of air through the radiator as I'm driving. Also, as you guys can see, the intake is fully exposed to the engine bay and to all the heat coming off that engine and off the charge pipe from the turbo. That will all be changing very soon as well. This car is going to be going away to get a custom air intake built for it, which I'm not going to talk about where it's going or how they're doing it just yet. I want to leave some things to be a surprise. But that effectively ends our engine build series. So what comes next? Well, I have other cars that I need to do maintenance on, other projects that I'm lining up, but we also have more work to do with the Subaru. As you guys can tell, it's wrapped. And in a future episode, we're gonna actually go down to where I got the car done at. We're gonna talk to him and we're gonna make a whole episode about this car's wrap and about the place that wrapped it. Also, this thing's been ceramic coated, and we're gonna go to the place where I got the car detailed and talk about it as well. So I hope that you guys look forward to those episodes in the future. Soon as what also, I'm gonna have episodes on a few cooling mods I did after the engine was done, along with adjusting the ride height, because for all the shops and everything, I had this thing sitting up pretty much at rally height, just so then it wouldn't get caught on dynos, ramps, anything. I didn't want the car to get damaged before I got the car back. All right, guys, that effectively ends today's episode. I wanna thank all of you for watching and for continuing to support the channel. Please remember to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and please consider subscribing. Remember, our subscriber goal is at 100 subscribers. I'm gonna make another special video for you guys. So keep that, let's keep the subscriber count climbing. Next week, we're gonna be doing some cooling system and skid plate modifications. So I hope you guys come around to see that video next week. Till next time, remember, there's no such thing as a finished project.